Welcome to today's video, and I'm thrilled to be here with the 17-year-old CEO, a gentleman called Dan Miller, who I've had the privilege to work with for the last couple of years. We ran an employability event together. We spoke at the Skills Show in Birmingham, an event I think attended by about 80,000 people, and of course patroned by Thea Pathetis from Dragon's Den. And Dan presented extremely well there. Really inspiring guy, great story to share, and I've had the privilege of being his mentor for the last couple of years. So I wanted to get Dan on the video, ask him some questions about his story, and get that out to people who watch my videos on YouTube or on the website. So Dan, welcome to today's online interview. I know you're in a coffee shop, are you today?
I am indeed, Simon. Thank you for having me anyway.
Hey, no problem, no problem. Could you tell us a little bit of brief background about your background, where you've come from, and what you're up to today?
So I currently live in Derby at the moment, based in the East Midlands. I go to school in Long Eaton, and I've always had the passion to go into business. I've always had the entrepreneurial sort of flair about me. And you know, as time went on, whilst I was still in education, I felt like I needed to start doing something with my life, and actually start going into business and going forward with my plans to develop something that I would be proud of.
Fantastic. And you started a business, I believe, called Young Professionals.
I did. I set the company up last year, in fact, with the idea to basically bridge the gap between businesses and schools, because I found that the careers advice and guidance in schools is pretty poor across the UK, and as such, I was badly affected by that, and I should have been pushed down the apprenticeship sort of route rather than staying on for A levels.
Right.
So that's what kind of sparked the idea in terms of actually bettering the opportunities for young people.
Fantastic.
Under the brand.
Yeah, I think it's a great brand, and we're going to talk about some of your events a little bit later on. I know you've put on some really big events, which is great. So it's quite interesting what you said. I obviously know your story, that you didn't get the right careers advice, the employability education. So you've kind of spotted this need, and you're now delivering that and engaging young people between schools and business. What do you think's going wrong in terms of careers advice and employability education? Why isn't it working?
I think it's the lack of knowledge. I don't think schools fully understand what apprenticeships are, and one key thing is that a lot of the careers advisors in schools have been to school, have been to university, and they've come straight back into the educational sort of system without any real experience in the business world. So I think it's a lack of knowledge for schools in terms of understanding what apprenticeships are and what good quality advice is.
Okay.
But I suppose also the other side of it is that, you know, quite a lot of schools are more concerned about outcomes in terms of where students are going to university, and you know, effectively each student at their school is a price tag, and it's trying to break through that barrier in terms of actually saying, well, it's not just about the school, it's about the student and the individual and what's right for them.
Sure, absolutely. I was at the Department for Education in London a couple of months back, and we were talking about this very issue of bridging the gap between schools and business. And as you know, because we've done some stuff together, I go out and talk to schools, as I know you do, and you know, I think it's difficult if you've got somebody in a school, a teacher who's maybe doing careers advice 2 days a week, but really is there to teach, because of course giving careers advice is about having an external perspective as to how the world works, and being able to inspire students and pupils to look at various different opportunities. So I think it's a big challenge, and I think part of what you hinted at there is how we are set up in this country in terms of education, that it's still about the academic achievement, but that's not everybody's route to market. So one of the things I know you've done amazingly, and I'm so impressed, is the fact that you've really stepped out of your comfort zone. So I know you're not afraid to speak on stage in front of 200 people, to approach, you know, people a little bit older than you, like me, and ask for help. How have you managed to step out of your comfort zone when so many people of your age are not doing that? What's the secret?
I think it's just actually having a good idea and a good sort of product that you believe in. And I think as an entrepreneur, you're always thinking of different ideas and things to go at. And for me, because I experienced this particular issue, it's had quite a big effect on me, which is why I believe in what I do in terms of solving this issue and creating better opportunities for young people. In terms of stepping out of my comfort zone, in the initial sort of stages, no one particularly knew who I was, Dan Miller. I hadn't really got much credibility, but you know, as you start throwing businesses backing you in terms of like Rolls-Royce and Barclays and PricewaterhouseCoopers, it starts adding you a bit more credibility, and actually, well, you know, because I got out of my comfort zone,
Yeah.
And approached these companies, it now makes me more relevant.
Yeah.
And that's probably what I've faced since setting the company up.
Okay.
And I think, you know, as a young person, you're learning all the time, and I'm constantly learning new things from, you know, business professionals, mentors like yourself, and business companies. And through that, it's just building my confidence in order to actually stand up and publicly speak in front of, you know, 200, 500 or so students about this market that I'm in.
I think it's brilliant because I do a lot of public speaking myself. I know how difficult that can be in the early days, and I think you're doing a great job. And I think belief is an important thing, isn't it? Because if you believe you can do something, you'll actually go out there and do it.
Yeah.
And you mentioned lifelong learning. Well, I'm only a little bit older than you, but you know, it never stops. It never stops. The more you can accumulate,
No,
and learn,
it doesn't. It doesn't.
and grow and develop. You mentioned
And,
mentorship.
Knowledge, yeah.
I know we've had a kind of mentor-mentee type relationship. How important is mentorship in helping you to push forward with your plans?
I think mentorship for me, it's been, you know, invaluable, really. Obviously, I'm pretty new to the business world. I didn't really have many connections. I didn't know anyone. And through having a mentor, they're not just with you for a couple of weeks, they're with you for life kind of thing.
Yeah.
So they can open doors and teach you things in terms of how to do financial accounting, how to do successful marketing campaigns, all the different things that 17-year-old, 16-year-old kid wouldn't know how to do. So it's not only just getting the knowledge and the skills, but also potential connections that they might know in terms of helping me build my brand in the company and taking it forward. And as you probably know, networking is key to a lot of business success, and I've found that through the short time I've been in business, really.
Brilliant. And as a mentor and working with you, I can say that, you know, it's not just a one-way traffic. I've learned stuff from you, and learning how to coach and motivate. So it's been a great mutually beneficial relationship, I think. Obviously, I run a business called Career Codex, Careers and Employability Education. Work with very senior executives, but I'm also building a product that we're going to be taking to schools, colleges and universities a little bit later on this year. And I know one of the catalysts for that was my first book, Super Secrets of the Successful Job Seeker, which I know you've read and I think had a kind of profound effect on your, or certainly an influence on your decision to do what you're doing. Perhaps you could talk a bit about that.
Yeah, I think one of the key things that I picked up on that book is, you know, the importance of goal setting and actually how do you attack the job market in a particular way that enables you to control the meeting when you're in an interview.
Yeah.
And although I wasn't necessarily looking for a job, I was reading it to learn a bit more about the business and corporate world, and especially how I should conduct myself in interview sort of situations, whether it's in a business meeting, whether I'm interviewing future employees or others alike, really.
And you really drill down into the source content for that book, because I run a recruitment company, as you know, and what I put into that book is really how you run a business. So the advice is for people moving in the job market, but if you read it and see it from a slightly different perspective, it's also advice as to how to start, run and promote your business. So you're running a great event, aren't you? You ran a fantastic event in it was Derby, wasn't it? I think back in March.
Yeah, it was. It was at the Derby Roundhouse, in fact.
Yeah, and you had some great speakers and.
Yeah, we had about 500 kids attend this event for National Apprenticeships Week. Obviously, something that's quite key in the Midlands at the moment, getting young people into apprenticeships and traineeships. And it was a great day. We had a whole host of different guest speakers. We had about 20 different international sort of local companies there.
Fantastic.
All, you know, there for, you know, helping young people succeed in the job market, really.
Brilliant. And you're doing another one. So it wasn't a one-off. You're doing another one.
We are. So after the success of our first one, we're now actually holding our next one in July the 14th, again at the Roundhouse. It's
Fantastic.
a great venue. We've got a whole host of, you know, a new set of 500 kids coming to learn from the business professionals, which is something I'm looking forward to. But yeah, it's going to be another inspiring day for so many young people.
Fantastic. All credit to you. I think it's fantastic what you're doing. And I know you pretty much sold out your sponsorship deal, but there is an opportunity if somebody's watching this and would like to get behind this event or get involved with this event. What should they do if they want to talk to you about maybe sponsoring or partnering or doing something else?
It would be either get in touch with me via email, which I'm sure Simon will post on the link somewhere,
Oh, yeah,
and
I'll put it
also,
in. I will do.
so I say, or it would just, if you're on Google, just type in Young Professionals UK. We're listed at the top of the page there, and follow through onto our contacts page to get in touch with me via there. We do have an events section to our page as well, where you can view the next upcoming events.
Okay.
We've still got some sponsorship packages left as well.
Perfect. So that's youngprofessionals.co.uk, is it?
It's Young Professionals UK
Young Professionals
into
UK.
Google.
Okay. Put it into Google. What I'll do, I'll put the email address and the links underneath the video in the narrative
Good
section.
stuff.
So I know you're a busy guy. You're still at school. What's next for Dan Miller? What can the world expect?
So in terms of what's next for us, we're going to be hopefully growing the company in terms of what I've been doing. So branching out from the Midlands down into Birmingham, then into London. But we're actually in the development stage. We're actually designing an app where a young person will be able to apply for an apprenticeship all through in a mobile device. Something a bit more simpler, a bit quicker for the youthful sort of target market that I'm in. As well as that, we are adding on the apprenticeship sort of arm to our company. So we're going to hopefully be a training provider as well as in inspirational sort of business for young people. So there's a lot of things happening at the moment. We probably just need to get a few things going off the ground first, but that's kind of like the growth of the company over the next 3 to 5 years perhaps.
Fantastic, and I'm sure you'll do it. You'll be a great success. Dan, fantastic for you to join me today. It's been a pleasure to work with you. I'm looking forward to your event and working with you moving forward. So that's it for today. I'll see you soon.
Right. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Take care.